Alright, here we go. We got another one. We got area of circles and sectors. Alright, so first of all, just to recap, area of a circle, here's your formula for that, pi r squared. Okay, so we'll go ahead and find the area of a couple of circles here. So it should be review. You can go whatever 4.2 is squared, and then usually just multiply that by pi, and you can keep pi in your answer. If you do that, you're going to get about 17.64, and then with pi in the answer. And then if you want the approximate answer, you can multiply that out, and you're going to get about 55 and then 0.4. That's approximate, so that's after you do some rounding. Those will both be in meters squared. Right there. Now, occasionally I'll ask you a problem where you need to work backwards. They're giving us that the area is 201, and that's equal to our pi r squared. So we need to divide both sides actually by pi, and you're going to get, here, this isn't written out in my notes, it's 201 divided by the pi button, and that's about 63.98, and then that's equal to r squared. So then to get r by itself, you square root both sides, and that gets us about 7.999, or I guess you could say about 8 inches if you wanted. Right there. That would be your answer there. So area of a sector, if you watched our lesson on arc length, this is very similar to arc length here, where you're going to go angle over 360, you're going to set up a proportion, then you're going to say the area of the sector over the entire area. So we'll put pi r squared down there, or if you want to put a big A down there, does not matter. And then to get the area of the sector by itself, you need to multiply both sides by pi r squared. And that gets the area of the sector by itself, and then you can work it out. Alright, so let's find the area of the shaded sector right here. You got this little piece right here that you're trying to find the area of, so we'll use the proportion that we had up above for that. So that'll be x, the area of the sector, over, and then we're using pi r squared this time. That's where it's a little different. And then equals, and then your angle 90 degrees, and then out of 360 degrees right there. Alright, so we'll plug in, your 16 squared, and then we'll need that times pi right there. I think that's 256. So 256 pi. The 90 over 360 you can reduce if you want. It would reduce to 1/4. You do not need to do that though. It'll work just fine if you cross multiply and divide right away. But that'll get you 4x, and then I guess equals 256 pi. And then we can divide 256 by 4. I'm not going to use the pi button in the calculator. I'll just leave it in terms of pi. So that'd be 64 pi. And then that would be in inches squared, since you're dealing with a square unit right there. So yeah, very similar to the 8.1 stuff where you just set up a proportion. The only thing that's really different here is the denominator. Instead of 2 pi r, it's just pi r squared. Okay, let's do 2 more of these here, but other than that, there's not a whole lot of variation to these here. This one, you got 45 degrees, and you're trying to find the area of that little shaded region right there. So we'll go x, and then we'll go 16 squared, and then pi, which actually comes out to 256 again. I guess didn't change the numbers up a ton there. And then 45 degrees over 360, 16 squared, 256, and then 45 over 360. You could reduce it if you want. I'm just going to leave it like this here. So 45 times 256. Okay, big number here, 11,520. And that's with pi. And then equals 360x. And then we'll divide by 360. And that gets us 32 pi. And then I guess that would be in feet squared. Okay, so that'll be it. Now, number 4, you're finding the area of the shaded sector right here. So a lot of times they'll give you the smaller angle. This one they actually happen to give you the 270, but a lot of times they might give you the 90 right there and then make you go and get the 270, and you would just do that by doing 360 minus the small angle 90, I guess, and then you'd find out that this is 270. But they did that first part for us right there. So finding that area right there. So we'll use a larger angle, but the formula is still the same. It's x and then over 14 squared this time, and then pi, and then now equals 270 over 360. 14 squared, I think it's 190. Yep, 196 pi, and then 270 over 360 degrees. Then we'll cross multiply. 196 times 270 is going to be pretty big here. 52, 920, and then pi, and then that equals, what is that, 360x. So then divide that by 360, and you get 147. Pi, that would be, I guess, in yards squared. Right there. And that'll be it for those.